name is Brent Mullins, and I'm reading Martha Corey. I'm Jax Rogers, and I'm reading Thomas
Putnam.
I'm Bree, and I'm reading Rebecca.
I'm Riley Twain, and I'm reading John Hale.
I'm Gage Madsen, I'm reading the Paris guy.
Mercer Young and Mercy Warren. Wait, no, Mercy Lewis.
Claire, and I'm reading Abigail.
Shannon, and I'm reading Betty Paris and Susanna W.
Max, and I'm reading Giles Corey. Giles Corey.
I'm Claudia, and I'm reading Anne.
I'm Taylor, and I'm reading Mary.
I'm Daniel, and I'm reading John Proctor.
All right. So, everybody should be as loud as Riley was. Shannon had a really nice one. This group, you don't have to be nearly as loud because you're right by it. And I would say, you don't have to be as loud. But everybody else should be as loud as Shannon and Riley. And me, because I'm really loud. All right. All right, so Anne, let's get started. Mark it for a sign.
Mark it for a sign. Mark it.
Rebecca Nurse, 72, enters. She is white-haired and leans upon a walking stick.
That is notorious sign of witchcraft afoot, a prodigious sign.
My mother told me that when they cannot bear to hear the name of
Rebecca, come to her. We're lost. She suddenly cannot bear to hear the Lord's name.
Rebecca crosses to the bed. Giles Corey enters. He is an 83, knotted with muscle, canny, inquisitive, and still powerful. Side note, Max, you're my favorite character in the whole play. Giles Corey is my favorite. All right.
There is hard sickness here. Giles Corey, so please to keep the quiet.
I've not said a word. No one here can testify I've said a word. Is she going to fly again? I hear she flies.
Man, be quiet now.
Rebecca stands by Betty, who slowly becomes quiet.
What have you done?
Betty, calm yourself. I have 11 children, and I am 26 times a grandma, and I have seen them all through their silly seasons, and when it comes on them, they will run the devil
bow-legged,
keeping up with their mischief. I think she'll wake when she tires of it. A child's spirit is like a child. You can never catch it running after it, and you must stand still, and for love it will soon itself come back.
That is the perfect volume break. Good job.
Hey, that's the truth of it, Rebecca.
Okay, for those of you that did listen, you would have heard about Ann Putnam and her 7 failed birthings. So if you were in the village, in a village that believes heavily in God and God's influence over your life, how would you view a woman who has lost 7 children within the first day of their birth versus another woman who's had given birth to 11 children? How might this culture view that?
That's a lot of children.
That's so many kids.
Yeah.
My grandmother was one of 14. I have no idea.
Why do you have that many?
Well, I don't think I need to explain that to you. But
No, why would you? Well, I mean,
why would you?
Why would you?
Well, contraception really wasn't a thing until about the 20s. So they weren't really exactly trying to stop it. But so how might a town that very much believes God's hand in life drives you, how might they view a woman who's given birth to 11 children and they've all survived infancy and given her 26 grandchildren versus another woman who's given birth to 8 children and only 1 has survived past their infancy?
How would they view them?
Yeah, how would they view them?
How would Anne view her?
Or what?
How would the town view the 2 women?
That one would be more successful, maybe?
Okay. One is definitely favored by God here, right?
Yeah.
Versus the other one who seems to be punished by God for some reason. All right? And so it's really interesting how much that kind of plays into it here. Rebecca is lovely, by the way. She's so sweet. And you cannot believe this idea that your daughter is just going through a silly season.
Wait, who's Proctor?
Proctor is Riley.
Wait, Mom?
No, Dan. You guys gotta remember, I have 8 different casts for this play. I'm doing my best.
Hey, that's the truth of it, Rebecca.
This is no silly season, Rebecca. My Ruth is bewildered. Rebecca, she cannot eat.
Rebecca fires back with this very nonsensical answer.
Perhaps she is not hungry yet. Mr. Paris, I hope you are not decided to go in search of loose spirits. I've heard promise of that outside.
A wide opinion's running in the parish that the devil may be among us, and I would satisfy them that they are wrong.
Then let you come out and call them wrong. Are you our minister, or Minister Hale? Did you consult the wardens of the church before you called this minister to look for devils?
He is not coming to look for devils.
Then what's he coming for?
There be children dying in the villages, Mr.
I see none dying.
Nobody's dying. I just can't wake up.
Pray, John, be calm. Minister Paris, I think you'd best send Reverend Hale back as soon as he comes. This will set us all arguing again in the society, and we thought to have peace this year. I think we gotta rely on Dr. Griggs now and a good prayer.
Rebecca, that's Doctor's baffle.
If so he is, then let us go to God for the cause of it. There is prodigious danger in the seeking of loose spirits. I fear it. Let us rather blame ourselves.
How may we blame ourselves? I am one of 9 sons. The Pittman seed have people this province, and yet I have but one child left of 8, and now she shrivels.
I cannot fathom that.
You think it's God's work? You should never lose a child, nor a grandchild either, and I bury all but one.
When Reverend Hale comes, you will proceed to look for signs of witchcraft here.
You cannot command Mr. Paris. We vote by name in this society, not by
Acreage.
acreage.
I never heard you worried so on this society, Mr. Proctor. I do not think I saw you at the Sabbath meeting since now.
Since the snow.
Oh, since the snow.
It's okay.
I have trouble enough. Without. I come 5 miles to hear him preach only hellfire and
Bloody damnation.
There are many others who stay away from church these days because he hardly ever mentioned God anymore.
Why, that's a drastic charge.
It's somewhat true. There are many that fail to bring their children.
I do not preach for children, Rebecca. It is not the children who are unmindful of their obligations toward this ministry. Where is my wood? My contract provides I be supplied with all my firewood. I am waiting since November for a stick, and even in November, I had to show my frostbitten hands like some London beggar.
Right. You're all like, where's my stuff? You're supposed to be paying me. Where's my wood? Why? Remember, he's all about the appearance of things. He cares a lot more about what he looks like versus what he actually believes. Corey. Oh, so this is Giles Corey.
You're allowed 6 pounds a year to buy your wood, Mr. Paris.
I am paid little enough without. I spend £6 on firewood. The salary is £66, Mr. Proctor. I am not some preaching farmer with a book under my arm. I am a graduate of Harvard College.
And well instructed in mathematics.
Right. He's all like, yeah, 60 plus 6 is definitely 66. He's like, good for you that you graduated from Harvard. Apparently you can math good.
Mr. Corey, you will look far for a man of my kind at £60 a year. I am not used to this poverty. I left a thrifty business in the Barbados to serve the Lord. I did not fathom it. Why am I persecuted here? I cannot offer one proposition, but there be a howling riot of argument. I have often wondered if the devil be in it somewhere. I cannot understand you people otherwise.
Mr. Paris, you are the first minister ever to demand the deed to this house.
I am your 3rd preacher in 7 years. I do not wish to be put out like the cat. Whenever some majority feels the whim, you people seem not to comprehend that a minister is the Lord's man in the parish. A minister is not to be so lightly crossed and contradicted.
Hey?
There is either obedience or the church will burn like hell is burning.
Can you speak 1 minute without we land in hell again? I am sick of hell.
It is not for you to say what is good for you to hear.
I may speak my heart, I think.
What are we, Quakers? We are not Quakers here yet, Mr. Proctor, and you may tell that to your followers.
My followers?
there is a party in this church. I am not blind. There's a faction and a party.
Against you?
Against him and all authority.
Why? Then I must find it and join it.
He does not mean that.
I mean it solemnly. Rebecca, I like not the smell of this authority. I have a crop to sow, and lumber to drag home. Why say you, Giles? Let's find that party. He says there is a party.
I've changed my opinion of this man. Mr. Paris, I beg your pardon. I never thought you had so much iron in you.
Why, thank you, Giles.
It suggests to the mind what the trouble be among us all these years. Think on it. Wherefore is everybody suing everybody else? I have been 6 times in the court this year.
Is it the devil's fault that a man cannot say good morning without you clapping for defamation?
Mhm.
You're old, Giles, and you're not hearing as well as you did.
John Proctor, I have only last month collected 4 pounds damages for you, publicly saying I burned the roof off your house, and I
never said no such thing, but I paid you for it, so I hope I can call you deaf without charge. Come along, Giles, and help me drag my lumber home.
Okay, really quickly. So there's lots of lawsuits in this town. Everybody's kind of fighting with each other here. Are the people in Salem, do they get along very well? No, not really. And so we see a lot of people kind of like bickering and fighting back and forth. And so you've got Proctor who seems to hate Paris. You've got Putnam who seems to hate Proctor. You've got Rebecca Nurse who doesn't seem to be hated by anybody. She's lovely. And then you've got like all these other people kind of bickering back and forth. And Proctor and Corey, so Max and Dan, you're actually best friends. You and Giles Corey. He's picking on you, calling you deaf. He's like, I think I could call you deaf without you suing me. All right. And so, because you just paid him because you apparently said that he burned the roof off of your house, which did not happen, and he did not say that. All right.
I'll be damned first.
A moment, Mr. Proctor. What lumber is that you're dragging home, if I may ask you?
My lumber from out my forest by the riverside.
Well, we are surely going wild this year. What anarchy is this? That tract is in my bounds. It's in my bounds, Mr. Proctor.
In your bounds, I bought that tract from Goody Nurse's husband 5 months ago.
He had no right to sell it. It stands clear in my grandfather's will that all the land between the river and
Your grandfather had a habit of willing land that never belonged to him, if I may say it plain.
That's God's truth. He nearly wilted away my north pasture, but he knew I'd break his fingers before he set his name to it. Let's get your lumber home, John. I feel a sudden will to work coming on.
you load one oak of mine and you'll fight to drag it on.
Hey, and we'll win too, Putnam. This fool and I. Come on.
I'll have
He's like, I'll fight you, and you're like, all right.
a man on you, Corey. I'll clap a writ on you.
So Reverend John Hale is going to show up right here. He's young. He's well versed in the demonic arts. He actually found a witch in Beverly last year, and he was part of the group that found the witch in Boston 2 years prior and ended up hanging her. Okay, so his word is a big deal in this town. All right, who's Reverend Hale in our story? All right, Riley, you are so excited to be here. You can't wait to start looking for witches and the demons. Okay. Try you someone take these. Oh, sorry. Reverend Hale is a 35. He's a ruddy, bright young man. He is loaded down with a half a dozen heavy books.
Pray you, someone take these.
Right? Putnam crosses to Hale and helps him. Harris
Mr. Hale, oh, it's good to see you again.
helps him as they cross to the table.
My, they're heavy.
Hale putting books on the table.
They must be. They are weighted with authority.
Well, you do come prepared.
We shall need hard study if it comes to tracking down the old boys. You cannot be a Rebecca Nurse.
I am sure. Do you know me?
It's strange how I knew you, but I suppose you look as such a good soul should. We have all heard of your great charities in Beverly.
Do you know this gentleman, Mr. Thomas Putnam, and his good wife Anne?
Putnam, I had not expected such distinguished company, sir.
It does not seem to help us today, Mr. Hale. We look to you to come to our house and save our child.
Your child Hale's ill?
Her soul seems blown away. She sleeps and yet she walks.
She cannot eat.
Cannot eat.
Sorry. It's Proctor and Corey.
Do you men also have afflicted children?
No, these are farmers, John Proctor.
You don't believe in witches.
I never spoke on witches one way or the other. Will you come, Giles?
No, John. I think not. I have some few weird questions of my own to ask this fellow.
I've heard you are a sensible man. Minister Hale, I hope you'll leave some of it in sound.
I do love a subtle burn. All right. Paris.
Will you look at my daughter, sir?
Hale crosses to the bed, followed by Paris. Corey follows with Paris. He leads Hale to the bed.
She has tried to leap out the window. We discovered her this morning on the high road, waving her arms as though she'd fly.
Tries to fly.
You cannot bear to hear the Lord's name, Mr. Hale. That's sure sign of witchcraft afloat.
No. Now let me instruct you. We cannot look to superstition in this. The devil is precise. The marks of his presence are definite in his stone, and we must look only for his proper signs and judge nothing beforehand. And I must tell you all that I shall not.
Agreed, sir. It is agreed. We will abide by your judgment.
Good then. Yes, sir. What were your first warning of this strangeness?
Why, sir, I discovered her and my niece Abigail and 10 or 12 of the other girls dancing in the forest last night.
You permit dancing?
No, it were secret.
Mr. Paris, slave his knowledge of conjuring, sir.
We cannot be sure of that, Goody Ann.
I know it, sir. I sent my child. She should learn from Titubo, who murdered. What?
Tituba. It's like got a ch at the end. So Tituba.
From Tituba, who murdered her sisters.
Goody Ann, you sent a child to conjure up the dead?
And hysterically.
Let God blame me, not you, Rebecca. I'll not have you judging me anymore. Mr. Hill, is it a natural work to lose 7 children before they live a day?
Shh.
Hale, leaping through a book.
7 dead in childbirth?
Hey,
Hale looks in book.
What book is that?
what's there, sir?
Hale, with a tasty love of intellectual pursuit, looking at the open book.
Here is all the invisible word caught, defined, and calculated.
You read a little louder, Riley.
Here is all the invisible word caught, defined, and calculated.
Now looking at them, they are enthralled with this.
In these books, the devil stands stripped of all his brute disguises. Here are all your familiar spirits, your
Incubi and succubi.
incubi and succubi, your witches that go by land, by air, and by sea, your wizards of the night and of the day. Have no fear now. We shall find him out if he has come among us, and only can crush him utterly if he has shown his face.
Corey crosses near bed, looking at Betty.
Will it hurt the child, sir?
I cannot tell. If she is truly in the devil's grip, we may have to rip and tear to get her free.
Now, I would like to point out that all of this is happening. Literally, Hale's like, we may have to rip and tear the devil free from her. All because she and like 12 other girls were dancing in the forest last night. All right, that's it. That's all that started this.
Wait, my child?
Who's Paris?
Me.
Again. Hey, it's because of your children and then like 10 others.
Wow.
Wait, what happened to my child?
Are you Mrs. Putnam?
Yeah.
You sent her as well to go talk to them.
Is he my uncle?
No, he's
Oh.
just somebody else in the town. You sent your little Ruth, the only kid you have, to go conjure spirits in the forest with his kids.
You're a bad example.
And you were like, I need my 9-year-old daughter to go, or 9 to 10-year-old daughter to go and figure out who murdered my children. And nobody murdered your children. Infant mortality back then was high. It was not uncommon to lose children. And so
But I think that my child was murdered.
you think that somebody murdered your children using witchcraft, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. And so you sent your daughter to figure out who did it. Okay? Okay. Oh, and then Corey's gonna accidentally implicate his own wife as being a witch. It's gonna be great. Okay? Rebecca.
I think I'll go then. I'm too old for this.
Why, Rebecca? We may open up the boil of all our troubles today.
Let us hope for that.
Up toward door.
I go to God for you, sir.
Paris opens door.
I hope you do not mean we go to Satan here.
I wish I knew.
She leaves.
Come, Mr. Hale, let's go. Let's get on. Sit you here.
Hale sits on stool.
Mr. Hale, I have always wanted to ask a learned man, what signifies the reading of strange books?
What books?
I cannot tell, she hides them.
Who does this?
Martha, my wife. I have waked at night many times and found her in a corner reading of a book. Now what do you make of that?
Why, that's not necessary.
It discomforts me. Last night, mark this, I tried and could not say my prayers, and then she closed her book and walked out of the house, and suddenly, mark this, I could pray again.
Right, so something that Mr. Corey over here is not telling everybody, or that you would not know. Mr. Corey's like 80 years old, okay? On top of that, he didn't really go to church all that much and wasn't particularly interested in learning the prayers until he married his most recent wife, Martha. The fact that he probably did get stopped praying when she was speaking is likely. However, he forgets to leave out that he probably had just learned his prayers to start with. Okay? Hale.
Ah, the stoppage of prayer. That is strange.
Sits on bed beside Betty.
I'd like to speak further on that with you.
I'm not saying she touched the devil now, but I'd admire to know what books she reads and why she hides them. She'll not answer me, you see.
Hey, we'll discuss it. Now mark me. If the devil is in her, you will witness some frightful wonders in this room. So please, to keep your wits about you. Mr. Putnam, stand close in case she flies.
Sorry, he turns to Betty and helps her sit up.
Now Betty, here. Will you sit up?
Sits her up.
Can you hear me? I am John Hale, minister of Beverly. I have come to help you, dear. Do you remember my two little girls in Beverly?
How can it be the devil? Why would he choose my house to strike?
What victory would the devil have to win a soul already had? It is the best the devil wants, and who is better than the minister?
That's deep, Mr. Ferris, deep.
Does someone afflict you, child? It need not be a woman, mind you, or a man. Perhaps some bird invisible to others comes to you, perhaps a pig, or any beast at all. Is there some figure bids you fly?
Pauses and passes his hands over her face. And then you speak a bunch of Latin, but I'm not going to make you speak the Latin. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool. Betty is laid back on the pillow, looks to Abigail, and he looks to Abigail.
Abigail,
He looks back to Betty.
what sort of dancing are you doing with her in the forest?
Why? Common dancing is all.
I think I ought to say that I saw a kettle in the grass where they were dancing.
That were only soup.
Soup. What sort of soup were in this kettle, Abigail?
Why, it were beans and lentils, I think. And
Mr. Paris, you did not notice, did you, any living thing in the kettle? A mouse, perhaps? A spider? A frog?
Paris looks at her. Abigail, hysterically seeing Paris's look.
that frog jumped in. We never put it in.
A frog, Abby?
We never put it in.
Abigail, it may be your cousin is dying. Did you call the devil last night?
I never called him. Tituba called him.
She called the devil?
I should like to speak with Tituba.
Paris, he takes Anne to the door and returns as she goes out.
Goody Ann, will you bring her up?
How did she call him?
I know not. She spoke Barbados.
Did you feel any strangeness when she called him? A sudden cold wind, perhaps? A trembling below the ground?
I didn't see no devil.
To Betty frantically.
Betty, wake up. Betty, Betty.
You cannot evade me, Abigail. Did your cousin drink any of the brew in that kettle?
She never drank it.
Did you drink it?
No, sir.
Did Tituba ask you to drink it?
She tried, but I refused.
Why are you concealing? Have you sold yourself to Lucifer?
You have not. You're telling the truth here. Like, no, there was nothing nefarious going on in that woods last night other than the fact that you might have drank blood to kill Biddy Proctor's wife. Or, kill Biddy Proctor. But we'll get there.
I never sold myself. I'm a good girl.
Anne enters with Tituba.
I did drink of the kettle. She made me do it. She made Betty do it.
Abby!
She makes me drink blood.
Blood?
My baby's blood?
No, chicken blood. I gave she chicken blood.
Woman, have you enlisted these children for the devil?
No, sir. I don't truck with no devil. Hail of Betty.
Why can she not wait? Are you silencing this child?
I love me, Betty.
You have sent your spirit out upon this child, have you not? Are you gathering souls for the devil?
She sent her spirits on me in church. She makes me laugh at prayer.
She have
often laughed at prayer.
She comes to me every night to go and drink blood.
You begged me to conjure, Abby. You begged me to make the charm.
I'll tell you something. She comes to me while I sleep. She's always making me drink corruption.
Abby! So Abigail goes to the head of Betty's bed and hysterically horrified.
Sometimes I wake and find myself standing in the open doorway and not a stitch on my body.
Covering herself with her arms, turning upstage and away.
I always hear myself laughing in my sleep. I hear her singing her Barbados songs and tempting me with,
Tituba, I want you to wake this child.
Mr. Reverend, I have no power on this child. Hail?
You must certainly do, and you will lose her from it now. When did you compact with the devil?
I don't compact with no devil.
You will confess yourself, or I will take you out and whip you to your death, Tituba.
Alright. So Tituba is the slave of the household, okay? In the 1600s. It's not looking very good for her, right? The accusation is enough. Okay? Now they're telling her, Tituba's only options currently are, you either tell me what you did and that you trafficked with the devil, or I will whip you until you are dead. Those are her only options. What do you think she's going to choose to do?
Whip.
No.
Okay.
She's going to start naming names. Okay? Because she doesn't want to die. Can you blame her?
No.
No, you can't. All right. So, this Putnam.
This woman must be hanged. She must be taken and hanged.
No, don't hang Tituba. I tell him I don't desire to work for him, sir.
Who? The devil? Now, Tituba, I know that when you bid ourselves to hell, it is very hard to speak with it eternally. Now,
Break with it entirely.
Alright,
That's okay.
now we are going to help you tear yourself free. You would be a good Christian woman, would you not, Tituba?
I, sir, a good Christian woman.
And you love these little children?
Oh, yes, sir. I don't desire to hurt little children.
And you love God, Tituba?
I love God with all my being.
Now is God's holy name
Bless him. Bless him.
and to his glory.
Bless him. Bless God. Open yourself up, Tituba.
Open yourself up, Tituba. Open yourself and let God's holy light shine on you.
Oh, bless the Lord.
When the devil comes to you, does he ever come with another person, perhaps another person in the village, someone you know?
Who came with him?
Sarah Good. Did you ever see Sarah Good with him? Or Osborne?
Was it man or woman came with him?
Was a woman.
What woman? A woman, you said? What woman?
It was black, dark, and
You could see him. Why could you not see her?
well, they was always talking. They was always running around and carrying on.
You mean out of Salem witches?
Hale indicates to Paris to take it easy. I believe so. Yes, sir. Hale, calmly. He now takes her hand.
Tituba, you must have no fear to tell us who they are. Do you understand? We will protect you. The devil can never overcome a minister. You know that, do you not?
Oh, I, sir. Oh, I do.
You have confessed yourself to witchcraft, and that speaks a wish to come to heaven's side, and we will bless you. Tituba.
Tituba deeply relieved. Oh, God bless you, Mr. Hale.
You are God's instrument put in our hands to discover the devil's agents among us. You are selected, Tituba. You are chosen to help us cleanse our village. So speak utterly, Tituba. Turn your back on him and face God. Face God, Tituba, and God will protect you.
Oh, God, protect Tituba.
Who come to you with the devil? 2, 3, 4, how many?
Right. We only have like a page left, so just stay with me. I know this is getting long. I really appreciate you guys staying so focused though. We're almost done. Where are we? Remind me again. Tituba is panting and rocking back and forth, staring ahead. There was four.
Who? Their names.
Oh, how many times he bid me kill you, Mr. Paris.
Kill me.
Starting to cry. He say Mr. Paris must be killed. Mr. Paris no goodly man. Mr. Paris mean man, no gentleman. And he bid me rise out of my bed and cut your throat. Paris backs away a step and they all straighten up. They gasp. I tell him no, I don't hate that man. I don't want to kill that man, but he say you work for me, Tituba, and I make you free. I give you pretty dress and to wear, and I'll put you way up high in the air, and you're gonna fly back to Barbados. And I say, you lie, devil, you lie. And then he come one stormy night to me and he say, look, I have white people that belong to me, and there was Goody Good.
Sarah Good?
Tituba rocking violently. I, sir, and Goody Osborne.
I knew it. Goody Osborne were midwife to me 3 times. I begged you, Thomas, did I not? I begged him not to call Osborne because I feared her. My baby's always shriveled in her hands.
Hail. During this, Tituba is crying praises to the Lord.
Take courage. You must give us all their names. How can you bear to see these children suffering? Look at them, Tituba.
He is indicating Betty upon the bed.
Look at their God-given innocence. Their souls are so tender. We must protect them, Tituba. The devil is out and preying on them like a beast. Upon the flesh of the pure lamb, God will bless you for your help.
All right. So, really quickly, kind of as we get ready to finish up, Abby, you know you've done wrong, and you're watching them and the way that they talk to Tituba here, and you're realizing that Tituba is basically getting a get out of jail free card, right? He's like, I think he literally tells Tituba, you are the blessed chosen one. Basically, like, we will protect you if you tell us what we want to know. And it's already been determined they believe there to be witchcraft here, so now they just want names, right? And so that's what's going to happen. The girls are going to go wild. All the girls we had, and they're just going to start naming names. They're going to start claiming everybody's a witch in this town. All right? So, Abigail, not wanting to be left out, you decide to butt in and say that you want to be saved and, like, from the devil himself in this witchcraft trial before it even starts. Okay? Abigail, hands clasped, eyes closed.
I want to open myself. I want the light of God. I want the sweet love of Jesus. I danced for the devil. I saw him. I wrote in his book. I go back to Jesus. I kiss his hand. I saw Sarah Good.
Betty's hands appear above the headboard, raised towards heaven.
With the devil. I saw Goody Osborne with the devil. I saw Bridget Bishop with the devil.
Now she's speaking. Betty picks up the chant. Betty, all turn to her.
I saw George Jacobs with the devil. I saw Goody Howe with the devil.
She speaks.
Glory to God. It is broken. They are free.
Betty calling out hysterically with great relief.
I saw Martha Bellows with the devil.
Abby, and it is rising to a great glee.
I saw Goody Sibber with the devil.
The marshal. I'll call the marshal.
Let the marshal bring irons.
I saw Alice Barrow
With the devil.
I saw Goody Pike with the devil.
I saw Goody Hawkins with the devil. I saw Mr. Barton with the devil.
I saw Goody Cobb with the devil.
I saw Goody Franklin with the devil.
I saw Goody Hopper with the devil.
And on our ecstatic cries, the curtain falls. So it went from being like 2 people to then all of a sudden being like 14. Okay, where does Tituba get those first 2 names? She calls out Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne. Where did she find those names? You remember?
Were those in one of the things we did?
Not quite. Well, I think they would be because they're part of the actual witchcraft trials. The names are right, but somebody plants them there. Do you guys remember who plants the names in her head? We just read it. Literally just read it. So Goody Good and Goody Osborne. Where does she get those names from?
Wait, who?
Tituba. When she starts to crying out names, where did she get those two names from? Don't overthink this one.
Putnam?
Yeah, it's the Putnams. They're like, was it Sarah Good? Was it Sarah Asburn? And she's like, yep, totally them. You're already suspecting them. I'll just name them. It's easy. It's totally easy that way. Like, these people start proclaiming very quickly that these women are the worst. So, all right. We'll talk a little bit about this later. But I'm going to put the questions out for Act 1. If you have any questions at all, let me know. Really quickly, I know I'm on like my last 3 minutes of class. If you head on over to Classroom really quick, I just wanted to show you just real fast what this looks like. Do you see this Act 1 questions right here?
Yeah.
I'm going to open it up today and activate it. When you click on it, you need to sign in with your email address for the school. And then when you do that, it will open it. You have 30 minutes to complete the question set. You have to do it all in one go. You cannot stop and start again. Okay? But you are welcome. You'll have until Sunday to complete them. Okay? And I'll be uploading the other half of the play today. So if you didn't listen to the first half, make sure you do that before you start answering questions. Any questions, comments, concerns, or minor threats? Julio, you may pack up.
I had it done. I just didn't turn it in. So I turned it in and study all night. And I was done. I don't know. I saw that yesterday.
But then it says that we're not turning it in until right today.
Yeah, we put it in that class.
Yeah.
First thing you
Why
did.
would it be like, why do you have to do it so much study? Like my class is really Do you know that water thing for biology? And I already have it. It's expensive.
I just need to know because I had study more.
Oh, you thought I should trigger
I was like, I did all that. Well, actually, that's it. So what am I supposed to know?
Yeah.
Conservation math? The one that we did last week.
Dude, I like this. This stuff doesn't even do. He lets us sit on.
Then I guess we're gonna get some other.
That's why I like
Have a good day, guys. Tomorrow's a work day for your project.
Yes,
Deanna Sparrow, Sean Sigler, and Katrina Heigl.
Thank you, ladies.
I'm gonna just turn this off to you tomorrow.